Imagine running a tiny painting crew with just 5 guys, and then out of nowhere, pulling in over $51,000 in a single month. No fancy franchise, no giant marketing budget, no overnight miracle, just 2 moves that completely change the game. Most painting companies never break past average paychecks, and this owner cracked the code. So, how did a small local painting business out-earn what most people make in an entire year in just 30 days? What you're about to learn. The exact 2 strategies that transform this painting business from a typical $25,000 to $30,000 monthly operation into a $51,865 powerhouse. Strategies that any painting contractor can implement starting tomorrow. Let's break it down. Now, why should you care? Because most painting companies never break out of mediocrity. They hover around 25 to 30 grand a month. The owner hustles 60 plus hours a week, and profit margins stay stuck at 15, maybe 20% if they're lucky. Busy? Yes. Successful? On paper, maybe. But in reality, they're trapped by the numbers game. That's exactly where this 5-painter operation started. And that's where you might be too. You're working hard, you're closing jobs, but it always feels like you're chasing cash instead of building freedom. So here's the question. How does a small local painting business make more in 30 days than most people take home in a year? How do you break the cycle of survival and actually create a scalable, profitable operation? That's what I'm going to show you. And I'll give you the exact 2 strategies that did it. The same strategies you could start applying this week. But before we dive into those strategies, I want you to really understand the trap most painters fall into. Because if you don't see the trap, you'll never recognize the way out. So let's rewind. This owner was doing what most painting companies do, saying yes to every lead, cutting prices to stay competitive, and chasing volume to keep the calendar full. It looked like growth, but in reality, it was chaos. The average job size hovered around $3,200. Monthly revenue floated between $28,000 and $32,000. And margins? 15 to 20% tops. The math might look okay at first glance, but when you peel back the curtain, it's brutal. The owner was putting in 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. He was exhausted. Cash felt tight. There was no breathing room. And scaling? Forget it. Adding more painters would just mean more jobs at the same low margins. That's not growth. That's just more headaches. Sound familiar? This is the trap of treating painting like a commodity, competing on price, thinking in terms of square footage instead of outcomes, running from lead to lead, desperate to fill the pipeline. And here's the harsh truth. You cannot scale a business that way. You can only survive, and survival burns you out. What changed? What took this owner from drowning in average jobs to pulling in 51 grand in a single month? 2 strategies, 2 pivots that completely redefined how the business ran. The first strategy, filtering. Instead of saying yes to everything, the owner built a filter that only allowed the right projects through. He decided he would never again waste his team's time on low-value jobs that sucked up hours and drained morale. And here's how that filter worked. Step 1, he set a minimum, a price floor, no job under $5,000, period. And the goal was to average $7,500 and above. Why? Because a minimum forces you to stop selling square footage and start selling outcomes. Suddenly, bargain hunters weeded themselves out, and the clients who stayed, they valued quality, reliability, and longevity. They weren't asking, what's your cheapest rate? They were asking, can you deliver the result I want? That shift alone was massive. But he didn't stop there. Step 2, he defined exactly which projects he wanted. Whole home interiors, high-end exteriors, commercial spaces in premium neighborhoods, nothing else. He drew a 20-minute radius around the best areas, and that's where he focused. No more wasting travel time. No more chasing jobs in places where clients couldn't or wouldn't pay premium prices. Step 3, he built a qualification script. 30 seconds max. When a lead came in, the office would ask direct, no fluff questions. Our projects start at $5,000. Is that in your range? Most of our clients invest $7,000 to $15,000. Does that fit your budget? What's your timeline? If the caller hesitated, it was a no. Why is this powerful? Because saying no early saves you 10 hours later. It saves your crews from being tied up on projects that don't move the needle. It keeps your calendar open for the jobs that actually build margin and reputation. And it didn't just qualify budgets, it qualified timelines. High-value clients plan ahead. They aren't asking for a full repaint by next weekend. They understand quality takes time. And if someone demanded a rush job, the owner politely declined. Protecting the crew's time and energy protected quality and morale. This filter turned the business upside down. Instead of 15 small jobs at $3,000 each, the company closed 7 big jobs, averaging over $7,400 each. Less chaos, more margin, and an actual profit to show for it. But that's only half the story, because Strategy 1 gets you the right clients. Strategy 2 makes those clients profitable. And this is where most painters miss the mark. They guess at pricing. They throw out numbers based on gut feel or square footage comparisons. That's not a system. That's gambling. The second strategy was production rate pricing, and this one change turned good jobs into highly profitable ones. Here's the core idea. Stop guessing. Price based on how long the job actually takes your team, multiplied by a target hourly rate that makes the business worth running. For this owner, the magic number was $90 an hour per painter. Let's break it down with a real example. One job required 120 painter hours. Multiply that by 90, and you've got a labor target of 10.8. Add in materials, about $1,300. Add overhead and profit, $2,000. That job gets priced at just over $14,000. And here's the beauty. That number wasn't pulled from thin air. It was backed by data, because the owner audited every job, tracked actual hours by phase, prep, application, detail, cleanup, and built a library of production rates. He knew exactly how long his team needed for each type of project. He knew the multipliers for poor surfaces or exterior conditions. He had the math, and with that math, he could quote confidently, close deal faster, and protect margins on every single job. But it didn't stop at pricing. The system forced him to tighten operations across the board. Crews specialized. Instead of everyone doing everything, painters had roles. Prep specialist, application team, detail finisher, lead painter. That cut completion time by 25%. He added daily quality checkpoints. End of each phase, the foreman documented progress with photos, checked adhesion, checked edges, confirmed finish. If something was off, it was fixed before moving on. Rework dropped 80%. Materials? He centralized purchasing, negotiated bulk discounts, and standardized ordering. Waste fell by 30%. Scheduling? He blocked projects strategically, with buffers for weather or delays. No more scrambling. Crews flowed smoothly from one job to the next. And here's the impact. Labor as a percentage of revenue dropped from 45 to 38%. Material costs shrank from 18 down to 12%. Gross margin climbed to 35%. Net margin hit 28%. Think about that. Almost a third of every dollar earned dropped to the bottom line. That's not just revenue. That's real profit. So let's connect the dots. Strategy 1. Filtering, got rid of the noise and attracted better projects. Strategy 2, production rate pricing, turn those projects into margin machines. Put them together and you've got a positive feedback loop. Better clients lead to calmer crews and better outcomes. Better outcomes build stronger reputations and better referrals. More margin funds better tools, better training, smarter systems. Better execution feeds back into better projects. Rinse and repeat. That's how a 5-painter company cracked $51,000 in 1 month. And that's how you can too. Now, here's what I want you to take away. This isn't magic. It isn't luck. It's discipline. It's about deciding you won't chase every lead anymore. You won't guess at pricing anymore. You won't survive. You'll build. So which strategy do you start with? If you're drowning in low-value leads, start with the filter. Set your minimum, publish it, train your phone script, and stick to it for 30 days. Measure your average ticket and your close rate. Watch how quickly your client base upgrades. If you're already landing decent jobs, but profit feels thin, start with production rate pricing. Audit your last few projects. Track painter hours by phase. Pick your hourly target and reprice. Then enforce it. Whichever you pick, Start this week. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The owner who hit 51 grand in 1 month wasn't smarter, richer, or luckier. He just executed with discipline. So I'll leave you with this. Are you going to keep grinding in survival mode, or are you ready to step into profitable growth? Drop a comment. Tell me filter or production and why.